Hello everyone, welcome to Research Made Easy. In this channel, we simplify the research process and experience for our audience. To keep track of our content, please like and subscribe. In our previous video, we described what the research process is. In this video, we'll take you through the components of any research proposal. The proposal is a crucial part before starting any research process. Always think of the research proposal as a blueprint or a detailed plan for your intended study. This will help your research flow smoothly. Let's say it's the backbone of the research conduction. So, why do we do a research proposal? First, it helps us define the research question that will be our focus and what the research process will do to follow the research question. Second, it's a tool to obtain approval from multiple committees like ethical committees or requests for grants. Third, it needs to show that your work fits into existing knowledge on the topic. It needs to describe and explain what new paradigms it will add to the literature while specifying what new questions will the research address and establish significance and implications of the answer to these questions. And finally, the proposal must convince the evaluation committee of the credibility, achievability, practicality, and reproducibility of the research design. So, what are the multiple components of any research proposal? There are multiple parts that should be considered as sections of your research proposal. Among those are the abstract, the introduction, the methods, the objectives, the research question, and the aim. So what do any of these sections mean? What should these sections cover? This is what we will address next. The first part is the abstract. It is used to summarize the research, starting with the intent of your research, followed by the research question, and finally, the methods. However, as the case in the proposal, there are no results or discussions section yet, so the abstract is very short, and it will highlight the statements that the researcher is concerned with. It will highlight what the researcher will discuss. After the abstract comes the section of the introduction. The introduction part is also termed as the need of the study. It is almost like a literature review, but more concise. It should be able to convey multiple messages. It will involve a research background section where it describes what exists in the literature and conveys what was found in the literature review. So structuring this section intelligently is crucial for the reader to grasp the argument of the study. The introduction must be utilized to send multiple messages. First, through the introduction, the researcher must be able to establish a position for his intended research in previous research studies to establish significance. To accomplish this, the researcher must aim to answer the following areas: what is known on the topic, what is an area of debate and controversies in the topic, and what do previous research agree on. Second, through the previous research, the researcher will clarify to the reader what the research problem in this section is. The research problem is called as the research problem statement. A research describes the general research problem leading to a more focused research problem. Through this, the research problem, the researcher will identify what has not been answered adequately in previous research. This part is known as the research gap. Also, the researcher must establish significance of answering this research gap. In other terms, what will this research add to knowledge, practice, or policy in the area? Through the significance, the researcher will be able to establish the innovativeness and originality of the study intended. Finally, the introduction is usually closed with a purpose statement. The purpose statement usually outlines the researcher's purpose at the end of the research background, which will help the reader form a concise idea of what the research is about before moving on to the research question. After the introduction, the other section is the aims and objectives. In this section, it outlines the research's central aim, dividing them into general and specific objectives. The first part, which is the research purpose, goal, aim, or also known as the main objective. The main objective gives a broad indication of what the researcher wishes to achieve in the research. Also, it's followed by the specific objectives, which are categorized into primary and secondary objectives based on utilized tools and parameters. After the aim and objectives section, it will be followed by the research design and methods. In this section, the researcher has completed setting what knowledge exists, what are the main and specific objectives of the research, and now the researcher will outline how he will answer the questions. He must convince the reader of the overall research design and methods analysis to be aligned to address the research problem. In this section, the researcher will describe the research design, whether it was qualitative, quantitative, or mixed, the research population and sample, who was the target population, what inclusion or exclusion criteria will be considered, and what is the sample size. What would be the data collection method? How will the data be analyzed? And what ethical considerations he will take into account. And finally, is there any specific budget needed to conduct the research? After this section, it will be followed by the timeline of the research. He will outline how much time he will take in each section, starting with data collection, into analysis, and finally into report writing. Among the final sections of the research proposal is the appendices. The researcher in the appendices will include any documents that support the application, whether it was informed consent, supporting documents, questionnaires, or measurement tools. And finally, the references. The study sources must be cited while composing your proposal. Although the words references and bibliography are different, they are used interchangeably. While citing previous research in your proposal, consider the most important 10 to 15 articles that one must read and understand to get an overview of the existing knowledge. Make sure to include those in your proposal. So, now we understand what are the components of a research proposal. In the upcoming videos, we'll help you choose a research topic, moving on into doing your literature search as initial steps of preparing your research proposal. To catch up on our next videos, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching our video.